Good morning, I'm Sunetra Choudhury, political editor of Hindustan Times, bringing you all that you need to know about COVID-19 on Monday, the 25th of May. First up, a look at the numbers. There are now 6,634 new infections in just the last 24 hours, which takes us to number 10 of the world's worst hit COVID-infected countries. On Sunday, we replaced Iran at number 10. Now, the good news is that our fatality rate is much lower than the rest of the world, other than Russia, which is lower at 1%, while we are at 3%. But the bad news is that the number of cases and the number of dead is increasing in India. We seem to be following the trajectory of a country like Brazil, which has been criticized for having lax lockdowns. However, even countries that had very strict lockdowns like India, like Peru and Chile, have seen very high infection rates. So this is something for the authorities to be concerned about. The next story that we have for you is that with flying restarting today, what we have to keep in mind, what everyone has to keep in mind, is what kind of quarantines will the destination states impose. So the strictest seems to be in Bengaluru. So if you are flying there, then there is mandatory 7 days of institutional quarantine that is going to be imposed. For other places, for instance, Chennai, 14 days home quarantine is mandatory. So the difference between that is that can be not at an institution but the place that you're staying. In Mumbai, there are limited flights because Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray had a chat with Aviation Minister Hardeep Puri, who is against quarantines. So they are going to stamp everyone with the advice of quarantine. So if you're flying to Mumbai, be prepared for that. And Himachal Pradesh and Mizoram say that anyone flying in there, only residents will be allowed into the city. Delhi has said that they are going to take all precautions, but they are going to go with the advisory of what the Union Ministry has said, the Aviation Ministry has said, which means that there will only be quarantining for anyone who shows symptoms. So that's what Delhi is doing. You should check specific rules of every state that you're going to be flying into. The next story that we have for you is how the center has come up and is advising 4 places as models for other municipal corporations to follow. And those are Jaipur, Indore, Bengaluru and Chennai. The government says that these 4 places, while they had substantial cases, they had exemplary ways of controlling them as well. So for instance, Jaipur and Indore were major hotspots. The cases seemed to be out of control, but they were able to do effective contact tracing, and so their model is being prescribed to others. And also the southern states, that's Bengaluru and Chennai, they say in the way that they were able to keep the death rate much lower than the national average. In both these places, they had substantial number of cases, but their death rates have been less than 1%, is a model and instance which should be followed by others. Latest now in the science of corona, and the Wuhan lab has now said that they have isolated 3 types of coronavirus that is found in bats, but none of them seem to match the strain of COVID-19 that is causing the pandemic. They have also completely denied America's allegation that the pandemic is because of a leak from that particular lab. They said that these are all political lies. They said they can be part of an international probe into what caused the pandemic, but this has to be free of any political interference. And finally, it's Eid today, so Eid Mubarak to all our listeners. It is perhaps going to be the first time in 33 years that the iconic Jama Masjid in Old Delhi is going to be shut for Eid prayers, much like a lot of the mosques and religious places across the country. 33 years ago, that is in 1987, there were riots in Meerut which led to Jama Masjid shutting, and now it is because of a pandemic. However, many people say that they are going to be marking the festival by giving to those who need help, and helping a lot of the migrants is on people's mind. Well, those are the news updates for now. Keep tracking them on hindustantimes.com.